All right, everyone. Welcome to MTL Sports Podcast. We're on episode 54. We got a quick one for you. There's a huge Monday night showdown that's about to happen. So we're going to get to some recapping week 11 so that we both can watch this game, and then we can come back later this week to recap that as well. And then we might have a little rapid fire, but we'll see. So with all that being said, stay tuned. Welcome back, everyone. Apparently, George Mason, the good old Patriots, they just won on a buzzer beater. Can you explain, Lawrence, before we get into some NFL?
Explain what? That we're goated this year? Yeah, we're going all the way. NCAA tournament, another Final Four run. It's here. It's happening.
Okay, well, you heard it from the man himself. He loves some Patriots. So do I. You might see us at a game. But anyway, we got NFL action to recap. Lawrence, take it away. Let's get some Week 11 2-minute offense from you. What are your takeaways?
Takeaways. First things first. Carolina Panthers absolute dog shit. Worst franchise in NFL. You might as well just put them down to the SEC. I don't even know if they could beat Vanderbilt.
Ooh.
New York Jets. Tim Boyle is now the starting quarterback going into the Dolphins this week. The Jets have learned that nothing they can do will ever be anything of any kind of importance. So have fun, go nuts. You're a Jets fan. Titans fans, sorry, not sorry. Your team's also crap. You also didn't pick the right quarterback in the draft. Will Levis is not the answer. He scored a whole 14 points. And in the last 2 weeks, he has scored 16 and 14 points. So Jaguars absolutely trample them. Did not pay attention to that game in the slightest. Chargers, Packers. At this point in time, it's really hard to keep hating on Herbert because at this point, it ain't Herbert. It ain't Herbert. Herbert hit Quentin Johnson in stride, perfect ball, hit him in the hands, and he literally just dropped it right in front of him. Hit Keenan Allen right on the ribs, the ball. Keenan Allen just watched it hit the ground. Austin Eckler fumbles the ball in the end zone. There's like 2 minutes left on the clock. You got a two-hand. You got to hold the ball with two hands. You can't just run in there with, whatever. Everyone's all crapping on Justin Herbert after that game. At the end of the day, there's absolutely no way you can ever poop on Justin Herbert after that game. That was completely the defense and basically every single person on the offense other than Herbert. He didn't throw an interception. He put the ball exactly on the money multiple times. People just did not come through. You can see on the highlight right there, Quentin Johnson, absolute bum. I remember everyone was making fun of his draft. He said his mother was never going to have to work a day in her life again. Well, they're about to be back on the streets if she don't get a job. Giants, Commanders. The Commanders have not won while wearing the black jerseys. So if I'm Commanders, I'm just going to go ahead and burn that jersey. Obviously, it's cursed. Just don't wear the black jersey and you'll win a game. Raiders, Dolphins. You saw my parlay I had. Josh Jacobs, you're a clown. That was awesome of you. Miss it by a yard. That's awesome. Also, I can't believe the Dolphins barely cover the spread. See, this is where I also believe that the Dolphins are posers. Because we said they only beat bad teams, right? And now they're barely beating bad teams. So if you're the Dolphins and you want some more respect on your name, you're going to have to take the Jets when they come into town on Friday, Black Friday, and you're going to have to pound the crap out of Tim Boyle. You're going to have to beat the crap out of him because other than that, like you're losing respect each day goes by. I said it here. Cardinal spread was the lock of the day. Cardinals covered 5.5. They lost by 5. They almost won the game.
Nice.
Some unfortunate events. Maybe a little bit of a pass interference that was not called, but they weren't calling any penalties the whole game, so we'll let it slide. I mean, if they had been nitpicky the whole game and then they didn't call it at the end, that'd have been one thing, but they just didn't really call penalties that whole game. In my opinion, it was a pretty good referee staff. They just said let them play. In all, there was a total of 6 penalties in 60 minutes. So On average, that's about 1 penalty every 10 minutes. It's not really bad. Lions, Bears. Bears, man, I'm glad you guys got the second and third overall pick at this point because
Bears Nation.
you're up by 2 scores and you still blow it.
With like 4 minutes left too. Bears Nation.
Yeah, they were up by 2. Actually, it was a 256. They were up by 2 points with 256 left, and they blew that lead that quick. I mean, on top of it, the 31 points is from a safety. It was 29-26, and then you immediately got a safety. So, absolutely awesome. Going into the next one, Pittsburgh and Browns. I mean, I didn't watch this game, mainly because there was a lot of other good 1 o'clock games on, and this was really boring, and there was a lack of no offense anywhere. So I was not going to submit myself to this. I feel like this is remember what we were saying? This is the time the Steelers finally just start losing them. Games they should win. Like, you played DTR, and you couldn't even take down Dorian Thompson-Robinson. But you beat Deshaun Watson earlier in the season. This was just a revenge game for the Browns defense. And I say it now. This is the streak of Pittsburgh losing games. Now, I will say it is a little unfortunate because I don't believe in that streak going anymore. Kind of because they play the Bengals next week. And I don't know what y'all going to do with Jake Browning, but he ain't Joe. Tampa Bay and 49ers. I didn't watch this. It was 27-7. I didn't watch it. The only game I watched in the 4 o'clock games, I won't even lie, I didn't watch the Jets game either. Couldn't do it. It was horrible. The only game I watched was the Seahawks and the Rams, and that was the perfect display of Geno Smith for you. A game that Geno Smith's supposed to win, and Geno Smith just kind of has a rough day of it. Did he get injured? Yeah, he kind of did.
Kenneth Walker got hurt too.
But at the end of the day, you gotta beat lousy opponents as you will, like the Rams. The Rams aren't amazing this year. They're just there. They're like the definition of mid. You know what I mean? But you gotta take your wins while you can. But also with 6 wins, and I think the next best, I think it was on the right side of the screen. They're showing all the NFC teams. Every team in the hunt is all 4-win teams, so they got 2 wins. 2-win lead on everyone. So they're doing all right. Washington should never have lost that game in order to be that far down, but it is what it is. And then the Vikings and Broncos. What can I say? I picked the Vikings to win, keep that streak going. There's just something in the air about this Broncos team in which they can just get all the turnovers. They started the game, and a stat came on the screen. It said they've had 9 turnovers in the last 2 games. The Vikings turned the ball over 3 times. So in the last 3 games, they've had 12 turnovers. How in the heck is that happening? I don't even know. Maybe pieces got put together, and the Broncos aren't that bad. Maybe all they needed was to get slapped up by the Dolphins that bad to get themselves in the gear. Who knows? But the Broncos now currently hold the longest winning streak in the NFL. So there's your quick 2-minute offense over the weekend. There's a little less to talk about. Didn't watch as many games as I normally would. And also there's just so many, I don't know about you, but there was just so many boring matchups this week. There was nothing that was really exciting. And the few games that were exciting, you didn't expect them to be exciting. Like the Dolphins and Raiders, no one saw that one being a really good one. Lions and Bears, no one saw that one really being a good one. I think the most exciting game was the Cardinals and the Texans, just because it had the makings of being a shootout. It was just the defenses were just slightly good enough to keep it from happening. But consistently, it was 6 to 7 play drives that just got cut off by the defenses. So offenses were constantly moving the ball. They just weren't getting it far enough down the field.
Yeah, I mean, what I would say is, yeah, the 1 o'clock was definitely better. I feel like 1 o'clock has been better for most of the year so far, through 11 weeks. Um, yeah, I can say for myself as well, like the 4 o'clock games, if anything, I like somewhat kept tuning into the Seahawks Rams, but I think by then I was watching the Nuggets lose to the Cavs, and I had lost like $100 on that game. But we're not going to talk about that. But uh, yeah, 1 o'clock games. I guess we'll kind of recap. I'll recap a little bit of Thursday as well. The Bengals are in the hunt for Marvin Harrison Jr. or Brock Bowers. I think with Joey out, Jake Browning in, it's only down from here. So we're gonna join you for that for the big tank off. We can't get as low as you, but as the Panthers, but we'll be pretty far down there. But no, in all seriousness, I think as long as when Jake Browning was in, he wasn't bad. It's just that from what I saw, he just held the ball too long, and then he just started taking sacks. Started getting hit and roughed up. The offensive line isn't. This has been the best offensive line we've had in the past 4 years, and he has time to throw. He's just holding on to the ball too long. And then by then they knew, hey, it's probably gonna be just Mixon, and so they just stacked the box, and Browning couldn't pick him apart. So we'll see how he does with a full week of practice. With the starters, I think he'll win 5 games, which is what I think. 10 wins is what is going to get the last wild card spot. No, but will we be competitive? Yeah, we'll probably be like the AFC version of the Cardinals, just good enough to be competitive in most games. We're not going to win. I don't think. You know what? I think we have too many people on our squad that need to get paid, like Jonah Williams. Some of these young guys want to get paid, so whether they get paid by us or other people, I think is what's going to keep people being competitive. So even though it's probably in the best interest of the Bengals to tank and get a top 10 pick, um, I don't know. It'll be interesting to see. What's your thoughts on that?
I don't think they're going to tank. I think they still think there's playoff aspirations there, just from the player standpoint. So they're going to shoot all for it. And if they don't get it, they don't get it. At that point, they're probably going to try to trade down a little bit in the draft, where they probably would end up anyways. But at the end of the day, you guys have too many wins to even get competitive down there for the bottom pick seeds, because the NFC teams are all so bad. Like
Well,
the
it's just
NFC,
you, the Cardinals, and then the Commanders. It's Commanders, Rams at four wins, and then the AFC. Who's the worst teams? The worst team in the AFC is
Titans,
with 3. So
Colts. Colts aren't going to win much more.
Colts have 5 wins as well. So I wouldn't. It's a
No,
lock
because
for the Bears and the Panthers because
you
you
guys.
both have
So
1 and 2.
you need you guys. The way you guys are going to play out the season, y'all are not getting a top 10 pick. With the team that you guys have, you're not getting a top 10 pick.
I don't know.
You already said it. The guys want to get paid. You have 3 awesome weapons at wide receiver that Jake Browning just has to figure out how to throw a ball down the field just to get the ball to, anyways. You're going to play a crappy team like the Pittsburgh Steelers, in which all you have to do is score 14 points in order to win a game. It's easy that this team isn't going to get a top 10 pick. It's a sad day at the end of the day. There's just too many bad teams around the league. Like you're not going to out-lose Tampa Bay. You're not going to out-lose the Commanders and the Giants.
I don't know.
You're not going to out-lose the Packers, the Bears, the Cardinals, the Titans, Colts. There's too many teams at the bottom end. You can't out-lose. Because they're all trying to do what you want to do. They want those good picks. And they don't have guys on the team who are like, oh man, I need to get paid really bad. No, they already got paid, and they're trying to figure out the people around them. And they're trying to steal the people that you have. And that's going to be the downfall of the Bengals, in which you gave Joe Burrow all that money, and then as soon as you gave him that money, it became extremely questionable from there.
So we play Pittsburgh twice, so could go either way. We play Jacksonville, we play Indy, we play Minnesota, then we play Kansas City, and we play the Browns again. I legit can only see 2 possible wins, and they're against the same team. So I don't know. I think
You're going to beat the Colts. You're going to beat the Steelers once. You're going to beat the Green Bay Packers, and you're going to beat Atlanta. And you're probably going to beat Washington at that point. That's
this is
preseason.
preseason. So we only have 6 games left.
Okay, you're going to get 3. There's no way that you don't win 3. That's just the way it is with your team. I
foresee 1 win, potentially. I don't know. Let's move on. That's my take. That's my hot take. Tank for Marvin Harrison.
He's going number 1 overall to the Cardinals.
The Bears have that 1 pick. Bears Lions. I was kind of pissed because I picked the Lions to cover 8.5, and Jared Goff had a stinker, but he somehow pulled it out. So congrats to him. Justin Fields still running for his life, first game back. I mean, look at that, 18 carries for 104 yards. Like, Jesus Christ, like they need to protect this man. And I mean, he plays okay, but I mean, at this point, it's pretty obvious that the Bears kind of want to move on, but they're still kind of evaluating him. So I don't know. It feels weird. He's kind of in limbo. I mean, unless he plays like Superman, I don't really think that there's a chance he's going to stay. Because I feel like, I don't know, they're kind of dumb, so they might just well end up getting Caleb Williams.
That's why I thought it was a joke. He was in the top 100 last year. He wasn't that good to be in the top 100. But I mean, to go on your Lions spread bet, I mean, I did put that thing in the chat in which it did say that public money. I give you those 4 teams that had all the public money, and of those 4 teams, only one of them covered the spread. So Vegas had a field day, and unfortunately, you were on the wrong side of Vegas.
Yeah, they got me. Raiders, Dolphins.
Only the Cowboys covered.
Raiders, Dolphins. It's interesting. I knew in that first quarter, I was like, all right, this is going to be a good game, just because it wasn't mostly the back and forth early on. It was just that the Dolphins just didn't look like the Dolphins. So, like, usually bad teams, they stomp, and then they weren't stomping. I mean, they were getting chunk plays here and there, like they usually do, but it just wasn't converting, wasn't like, amassing too much. And then Achane, I'm saying that right? Achane? Achane. He got hurt early in the game, the same leg. He's not going to be on IR, but I think he's questionable for next week, so we'll see. But yeah, it was a good game. Tyreek, he got hurt. It looked like he got hurt in the middle, like before halftime, but then he came right back out and got 10 for $146. So I don't know. Seems to be good. But yeah, that was the best game of the 1 o'clock, I feel like. Chargers, I think my second and last hot take for this evening. I think the Chargers are going to miss the playoffs. I think they're too demoralized. And Brandon Staley, he's definitely gone. He sealed his fate by losing this one. Yeah, you can't lose a game to the Green Bay Packers. Both teams, I mean, and you let Jordan Love play like probably the best game he's played all season. 27-40 for 322, 2 touchdowns, 0 picks, 105 rating, 108.5 rating. And I don't think Christian Washington did play, but I mean, you just let the man just throw the ball wherever he wanted, and they just, not gonna say they cooked the Chargers, but like, I know Bosa went out early, but still, you got more than enough pieces on defense to kind of do something, and they like refuse to do anything. They refuse to stop anybody on defense all season. I think that team is just demoralized, especially losing this one. And I mean, you talked about it earlier, but like that drop pass that could have won them the game. I mean, you gotta think like, what is like team morale is probably at an all-time low. Like, I don't think they can recover. So yeah, I think this sealed their fate as, not making the playoffs this year.
I mean, yeah, you watched Justin Herbert's body language at the end of that game. It was just like, you felt bad for him because you could tell at the end of the day he was saying to himself, like, what more? I can't do anymore. I can't go out there and play defense, and I can only put the ball on the money so many times. Yeah, he had bad passes. Obviously, everyone has a bad pass throughout a game, but in key moments when you need your guy to make a play and you put it right on the money for him, you hope they make that play? Or do you hand the ball to Austin Eckler, who is a veteran running back? You hope he doesn't just take it up the middle with one hand, with one arm.
Yeah. And honestly, I think they got to just start new next season. Like, I know, like, the Chargers organization, like the front offices or the owners, I should say, they aren't the richest and they don't have the most money, but they got a clean house. I think everybody has to go. The GM, the coach, like, from talent evaluation, like, I don't know, they just haven't been drafting too well the past couple of years. Like, they got lucky with Bosa, and then they got lucky with these couple other picks, but like, other than that, like, none of the new guys are really hitting. And when they like sign people, they're not really making an impact. Like, you signed Khalil Mack, and he's not he's not really doing anything, or I don't know, maybe that's something to do with the defensive scheme. He's not like playing the best that he can, but I don't know. They definitely got to reevaluate everything after the season.
Oh yeah, I agree. I mean, the Chargers are that team in which anyone who wants to come in there as the head coach is gonna love this job. I mean, you have key pieces on both sides of the field that you can build around. I think at this point you kind of have to find a way to get rid of Mike Williams. Every year the man's hurt.
Yep.
You're gonna have to figure out, like, somebody will give you something for him. Or Keenan Allen, you can't let Keenan Allen walk. He's basically going to retire a Charger. But you're going to have to give him more help because you can't expect Keenan Allen to get 10 catches for 100-plus yards every single game at this point in his career. He's getting a little older, But any head coach is going to come in here and go, I mean, I got a starting quarterback. I don't have to figure out quarterback. I got key pieces on the defense. I just got to figure out how to put it together. I got Bosa and I got James. And they have a good corner in Asante Samuel Jr. So, like, they have good pieces. It's not like
No
you don't have to build something from complete scratch. But, like, at this point, they just need some guy to come in there and coach up tremendous defense while you let an offensive minded head coach in there come in there and with Kellen Moore and just whip up awesome offensive plays. And just give the defense to a defensive coordinator who's proven to be good in this league to just take advantage and tell them, hey, defense is all yours. Don't cost us games. And I bet you give a good defensive coordinator that, it's easy from there. But Brandon Staley's just not supposed to be there in the slightest.
Yeah. They kind of need, like, moving on from like a Mark Jackson to a Steve Kerr. And Brandon Staley is neither of those two great coaches, but it's kind of like a similar situation. And the last game I'm going to go over because it's the last game I really pay attention to. Giants Commanders played in FedEx Field, the worst field in NFL. Apparently, the players couldn't even take a hot shower after the game. What a piece of shit field. But Commanders should be ashamed of themselves. They let the third string backup beat them. Throw three tubs, no interceptions, 18-26. Outplayed Howell. And then Saquon cooked. I mean, he's the only good player. You still let him cook. He cooked you on the real wheel route for that touchdown catch. Yeah, the Commanders. The team is. It's not even the team. The team isn't awful. They have same like the Chargers, good pieces, but you can tell the coaching staff has lost his team. Like, I was listening in to the Ron his press conference today before I went into work, and he's just like dodging questions and just still repeating the same talking points that he's usually saying. Oh, we found our quarterback. Oh, we gotta seize the moments. We're making too many dumb decisions, and he's just going on and on, just repeating the same talking points. Like, Ron, when are you gonna come up with something original? Ron, like, when are you gonna like be a man and like take responsibility? Like, hey, I'm just not coaching well. The coaching staff isn't coaching well. Like, we're just getting out coached, and he has yet to say that. He's just trying to save his ass, trying to squeeze one more year, but out of Josh Harris. But hopefully, I think I don't know about you, Lawrence, but I think this pretty much cemented his future of him getting fired. I think if they would have finished out strong, there's a good chance he would have stayed in Washington for another year. Play out his contract. But I think with this one, I mean, you would have to win 5 straight to even even try to get into the playoffs, which I don't think is going to happen.
I mean, for this team, it's just like 1 week, each week it's something different. So like last week, the defense absolutely let them down. The defense was the problem. This week, defense wasn't the problem. It's the fact that you turn the ball over so many times.
Yeah.
And that's offensive. That's on the offense. Because like the defense can't stay on the field forever. Eventually, you're going to get beaten. Like, this is how it is. You send a team out there to play 12 or 13 different drives. They're going to get beaten a couple times. That's why you look at the fourth quarter. All the Giants' points came in the fourth quarter. Why? Because the defense got tired. Constantly out there because freaking Nimrod keeps throwing interceptions.
Yep.
What do you want from him? Like the rookie third string quarterback didn't throw a single interception.
Nope.
All he did was just get the ball. He dinked and dunked at halftime. Then he just threw it over the top after they got really complacent over it. I mean, that's how they beat you. You just dink and dunk it a few times and just say, "Oh, let's just toss it up there." Guy made it to the NFL for a reason because he could throw the ball, and they finally let him throw the ball. So at the end of the day, like it just goes back and forth. Like, oh, the offense let us down this week. Okay, then this week, last week the defense let us down. This week, the offense let us down. Like the leading wide receiver is again the tight end and the running back. And the Giants have been known all season to get cooked with their corners because they're both rookies. And you got Terry McLaurin going 43 yards. That's just sad.
And Dotson 3 catches. Like somehow is still. I think he's still leading the league in passing yards, right? But like, it's not to his receivers because he's just throwing to the Logan Thomas and Brian Robinson. Like,
and a lot of it's like garbage time yards too.
Yeah, he reminds me of like Dak. Like Dak gets garbage yards, a lot. So it reminds me of that. But yeah, I mean, I don't know. I feel sorry for the fans, especially. I mean, we have friends that love them some Commanders, and they are not going to be in the playoffs. But yeah, that's pretty much all I watched. Was 1:00 games. I'm not going to go too much into 4:00 or Sunday Night Football. The big game is approaching, so I think we should just call this one a night. We'll get back to you guys later this week with some predictions and whatnot, all that good stuff. We got a bunch of games on. I think we got 3 games on Thursday, a Black Friday game, the first time ever, and then the usual Sunday game. So, any last thoughts before we head on out?
A big part of me thinks that the Eagles are going to win this game. But at the end of the day, you kind of have to go with the momentum. That would be on the Eagles. But I would say you got to look at previous years and the fact that Andy Reid is 23-3 or 20-3 coming off a bye week. I think it all depends on how good the Chiefs are in the first half. If they come out bland and dry in the first half, I think at that point it's all Eagles from there. But the Chiefs come out strong in the first half, I think it's going to be a completely different game. The Eagles playing catch up is not really their forte.
So where's your money at, and is it going to be a shootout?
Well, my money is Eagles money line. Shootout, okay. I do believe they're going to go over 45. Is it 45.5 or is it 46.5 now? It's somewhere around there. I do believe it's going to go over. I think this is probably about a 31-28 game, 31-27, something in those lines.
Yep, it is.
Defense getting cooked every 45. Once in a while.
For 45.5, the money line as of ESPN Bet is +125 if you're going to Eagles. So not too shabby. Vegas wiped me clean this weekend. Lost a couple $100, and so your boy will not be betting for numerous weeks. Got to recover, but that's pretty much it for me. That's the MTL Sports Podcast, episode 54. We'll catch you guys later this week. Enjoy Monday Night Football, and with that, we're out. Peace.